Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenaton, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. What are we doing today? Today I'm going to be doing a video that I haven't really done before. For YouTube, I've done these kind of things impromptu on my Twitch stream, but this is my first video for YouTube that I've done, where I'm going to go through and talk about some cards I would like to see changed, buffed, or nerfed. I'm doing this because we are getting a balance patch coming up soon. March 30th is when I believe it comes out on Wednesday. There's a total of 33 changes, I think is the amount of changes that have been confirmed by Riot employees. So for this video, I'm going to limit it to 5 nerfs, 5 buffs. I did not want to list 33 cards that I wanted to see get changed because, in all honesty, that would just make a really, really long video. And I didn't want to make a video that would be like an hour and a half long. So yeah, we're going to be limiting this video to 5 nerfs, 5 buffs. Before we get into the actual nerfs and buffs, though, I do have a quick list of another 5 cards that are basically just honorable mentions. Mostly just other cards I would like to see get nerfed that either I don't really know a good way to nerf them, or I feel like if you nerf other cards, they probably will not need a nerf. Another quick note, not that many champion changes here because also we have been told that soon trademark in the future, there is going to be a number of champion reworks, so I feel like we might not see that many champ buffs, maybe like 2 or 3, but probably not too many, like for example Yasuo, or Katarina, but maybe Garen. But yeah, we probably won't see too many buffs because of the future champ reworks. Well, I didn't really include that many. Anyway, let's start this video and head on over to the first part, which I was talking about, the honorable mentions. So, 5 cards here for the honorable mentions. Everything here is a card I want to see get nerfed, but some of them I feel like could stay as they are if you nerf other cards, or like I was saying earlier, I just don't know how to nerf it. A good example of that is Telescope. First off, Twin. Twin, I would like to see nerfed. I like Ionia. Don't get me wrong. I love Ionia. It's probably my second favorite region after Targon. And I really like Targon. Twin. And my biggest problem with Twin is it's just so good of a protection spell. 3 health for 2 mana is nuts. There are not that many ways to really deal with a unit getting 3 health from Twin. There's a couple that are either you need something extra with it, like a damaged unit, like a Ravenous block. And when I say 3 health, I mean like to go even on mana. So, you know, for example, if my opponent plays Twin Disciplines and I get excited to, you know, quote unquote counter it, sure, I countered it and I got rid of the unit, maybe. But I'm down 1 mana, and that kind of mana difference does start to affect things. For example, like, oh, I had to Vengeance a 2-drop or a 1-drop. Like, let's say your opponent has a Teemo, and you're like, if I don't Vengeance this Teemo, I die or something. Or they double the Puff Caps in my deck, and you Vengeance the Teemo, your opponent's like, wow, they used a 6-mana card to remove my 1-mana card, and that's the reason why I think Twin needs a nerf. How would I nerf Twin? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think making it 3 mana is the answer. It actually used to be a 3 mana card. It saw pretty much no play. It saw a little play when the game first came out and then kind of got power crept out. And then they buffed it to 2 mana and it is what it is now. Also, another thing is Ionia is kind of a weak region right now, save for like 1 or 2 decks. But if they buff other Ionia cards, Twin comes back and Twin is very scary. So I think just make it so instead of giving +3 power, +3 health, make it +2/+1 or +1/+2. So it's only like 2 health at the most you're getting, which can be countered by other 2 mana staple cards, Sharp Sights, Troll Chance, kind of, Mystic Shots. So that's how I would like to see Twin nerfed. Next up, we got Telescope. Telescope, I would like to see a nerf. I don't know how to nerf this card. There's so many ways you could nerf this card. You could start with just like a stat change, make it a 1/1, which is fine. A mana increase, make it 3 mana, which is fine. I've seen people say like add Nightfall to it, which is fine. I don't know if even adding Nightfall is that scary for it. I think adding Nightfall mostly hurts the slower decks that only have like, say, Conchologist and Telescope as their 2-drops. Another one I've seen is just change up how the manifest works. So, you know, keep it so it still manifest a Celestial or a multi-region follower and remove the epic, because the epic is where most of the RNG comes from. The problem is I don't personally know what a good replacement would be. Some people just say make it another multi-region follower. I'm like, it's a little inelegant, but sure. Others are like, keep it so the epic's only in your regions, which that could be a thing, but still very high RNG. Another one I could see is make it so it manifests a Yordle, but make it so there's a mana cap on the Yordle, like a 3 mana or less Yordle, kind of like how Yordle Portal has a cap on it too. But yeah, I think Telescope could use a nerf somehow. Pokestick, this one, I know it's a staple and all for Bandle City, but it just feels too good. And I think a good way to nerf, and if Bandle City, let me try to start that over. If Bandle City gets weak, I don't want to just nerf Pokestick, but I think it's a good small nerf where basically keep it as it is now, but make it so it can fizzle. Similar to how Vile Feast is. You know how if your opponent plays a Glimpse or just kills the unit that's getting hit by a Vile Feast, you don't get the Spiderling or the Drain 1. Make that similar to, make Pokestick like that. So if your opponent glimpses whatever is getting poked, you don't get the card draw. I like that change because it still leaves behind the synergy for going Nexus, the synergy with the transform cards like Gnar and his followers and other stuff. So I like that. And Plunder synergy too, so that's nice. Bandletree, I don't know how to change Bandletree. In all honesty, I just hate the card. If you asked me, I'd just like to see it deleted from the game, but it is kind of an interesting card. I've seen some people say make it 6 mana. That's kind of nice, but I'd rather see they change the win con, if that makes sense. I'm not saying get rid of it completely. How I would like to see Bandletree get nerfed is remove the auto win part and change it to something else that's really, really, really strong and pretty much an auto win thing. A good example of that would be like a Zoe level up. You see a Zoe level up and it's like, wow, okay, for the rest of the game, all their units get the, are basically sharing keywords now. You summon a unit with lifesteal, all your units have lifesteal there on the board. An example of this, really just off the top of my head, would be like, remove the win con of Bandletree and instead say, you know, if you've summoned units from 10 regions, for the rest of the game, all of your units now have +4/+4 or something. Basically, they have a permanent Yordle in arms. So while, like, that's huge. Like, every single unit gets a +4/+4 bonus for the rest of the game. I like that because it is pretty much a win, but it still gives your opponent, like, a few more turns to try to do something before you just overwhelm them. Maybe that's too much of a nerf. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't really play too much Bandletree, but I would like to see it get nerfed. And Twisted Catalyzer is the last card. Catalyzer is a card that I've seen a lot of people say, don't nerf the card, and a lot of people say, nerf the card. I've played a lot of Darkness. For multiple seasons, I've actually hit Masters with Darkness and played Darkness in Masters. I think Catalyzer needs a nerf. So for 2 reasons. One, right now in the meta, Darkness is the most played deck. And yet it's not a good deck. It's an okay deck with like a 51% win rate or something around that. It floats around there. And here's the thing. It's bad into a lot of the meta decks. Basically, a lot of the Demacia decks hold back Darkness. If they nerf a lot of Demacia decks and don't touch Darkness too much outside of, say, like a couple of Bandle City cards like Conchologist or Minimorph or something, Darkness is going to crush everything, in my opinion. So I feel like a nerf to something in Darkness would be good, and I think Catalyzer nerf would be good, so I don't know how you would nerf Catalyzer. I think keeping it at 2 mana is the way to go. I don't think 3-mana Catalyzer is good at all. I think that would just kill the card. I've seen some people say, like, make it so it has a Nexus Strike. I think that's awful. I think that would kill the card too. I think the only way to change Catalyzer is a stat nerf. So either make it a 2/2 or a 3/1. Personally, I think a 2/2 would be more of a nerf. Weaker nerf. 3/1 is really if you just want to really hurt the card because it dies to pings then. So yeah, but yeah, I want to see a Catalyzer nerf, like a preemptive nerf, because also they seem to only nerf balanced every 2 months, so I don't want to go 2 months with Darkness being the most powerful deck. Because while I like playing Darkness, a Darkness Mirrors are one of the worst mirrors you can play. Anyway, those are the honorable mentions. Just cards I don't really know exactly how I would want to change, or cards I think that if they change other cards, they don't have to nerf these cards. Like, for example, if they nerfed Lee Sin, Twin can stay as it is. Anyway, let's start with the, let's head on to the actual buffs and nerfs, and let's start with cards that I want to see nerfed. 5 cards I want to see nerfed. First off, a card that everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people want to see nerfed, Conchologist. Conchologist has such good strength and power for its cost. It is pretty much a prime example of what you look for in a 2-drop. Solid stats for the cost, good early, and good late. A lot of cards that are strong that are in the 1 and 2 mana slot are only good in the early game. Conchologist is great. Let's say they're on like turn like 14 or something, and you top deck a Conchologist. You're actually probably happy drawing a Conchologist. You're like, great, I can develop a board and potentially get a strong spell, because there are strong spells that cost 3 or less that are pretty good in the late game. Draw spells, I think, are one of those, like time tricks and stuff. Now, how would I nerf Conchologist? I'd make it a 1/2. That's what I would do if I was Riot. I would just make it a 1/2. I would not increase the mana cost. I've seen some people actually say, what if you make it so it manifests a spell that costs 2 or less? I actually don't think that's a nerf at all, in all honesty, because a lot of 2-mana things just get more consistent, so you can actually find things like Sharp Sights, Mystic Shots, Troll Chants, Twin Disciplines, etc., more consistently. But yeah, I think making a 1/2 is the best way to nerf Conchologist. And my reason for that is the fact that aggro decks, not PNC, Noxus, Vandal City burn decks can play Conchologist, a card you would expect burn decks would not like to play because it's relatively slow. But the fact that they can play that and love to play it is why I don't like the card, and I think it should get nerfed. Yeah, pretty much. So that way it's more of a, it feels like a tempo loss, is what I'm saying. I want Conchologist to feel like a tempo loss. A lot of cards that are these cards that create other cards, I feel like should feel like they're more of a tempo loss, or you're paying a premium to get some card advantage or some more late game advantage. Conchologist, I don't feel like you're paying that much. Like, sure, a 2-mana 2/2 is a okay stat line. It's not a premium stat line like a 3/2, but it's still solid. So yeah, I just want to see a nerf to it, like make it a 1/2. Next up, Gleaming Lantern. My problem with Gleaming Lantern is it's a 3/3 for 3, and it's nuts. You want to remove it, and yet it's really hard to remove. 3 health is kind of difficult to remove when it's backed up by protection spells like Sharp Sights, Ranger's Resolves, Troll Chants, etc., etc. So I would just nerf this down to a 3/2. Maybe even a 2/2 if you want to nerf it even harder. But I don't want to nerf it too hard. I like the concept of it, and I do kind of like Fae. Fast mana is really strong, though, and giving you a 2-mana discount every turn is pretty strong, so maybe it should be nerfed to a 2/2, but I think just making it have 2 health in the first place would be good enough. Yeah. Next up, though, Yordle in Arms. Yordle in Arms, in my opinion, I don't know how to even nerf this card, really. I feel like just make it 6 mana, or make it a little bit harder to get the full power of it. Maybe make it so you need to summon 5 regions to give your allies +4/+4. Because it's not that hard to get that 4+ regions. I've played a okay amount of Yordle in Arms decks, and it's like the whole 4+ regions isn't that tough. Unless you want to get a Yordle in Arms on like turn 4 or something, which you probably don't want to, usually, sometimes. But yeah, I think just make it 6 mana, make it to the same mana equivalent as 4 Demacia. That way it's not dead and it still rewards going wide, which is obviously what it's trying to do as a card. It's trying to reward you for going wide. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next card, Sharp Sight, the first non-Vandal City card here. I actually want to see nerfed. I like Sharp Sight. I like the concept of Sharp Sight in that it lets you block elusives. I just think it's giving too many stats for the cost. 2 mana for 4 stats is solid, but I don't know. I just think, if I remember correctly from stats, it is actually the most played, like the highest inclusion rate out of any cards for its region. In any region, in fact. Like, I don't think there is another card that's included in decks more than Sharp Sight is included in Demacia decks. Now, how would I nerf this? I don't know. +1/+2 is really all I can think. I'd rather you nerf it to +1/+2 and then instead of +2/+1, because I feel like it's meant to be more of a defensive card, and it's lore friendly, lore accurate, I guess, with Demacia being more defensive than offensive. I guess, like, you wouldn't need to nerf Sharp Sight if you nerfed other Demacia cards, of course, things like Golden Aegis, Petricite Broadwing, Duran Sculptor, and you can just leave it so that Sharp Sight's always going to be that card that you're going to play 3 of in your Demacia decks, but it feels like to me it should just be a +1/+2 card. 2 health is solid for 2 mana, and the ability to block elusives is really, really good. So yeah, nerf Sharp Sight. And the 5th card that I want to see get nerfed, another Demacia card, Bright Seal Protector. All those other Demacia cards that I mentioned that could get nerfed, Golden Aegis, Broadwing, and Sculptor, I could see those also getting nerfed, but I'd rather see Bright Seal Protector get nerfed first. Maybe I'd rather see Golden Aegis get nerfed, but another rally nerf is meh, kind of. I don't know. Also, there's like Relentless Pursuit, and sure, Golden Aegis is better than Relentless Pursuit most of the time, but you nerf Golden Aegis, I feel like most people just play Relentless Pursuit anyway. But yeah, I just want to see Bright Steel be a 2/2. That's it. Nothing much here. The fact that this thing is good stats for the cost, and it's an extremely strong playability, giving a barrier to something for the turn is crazy good. You might say, like, why should it be nerfed now when it's been in the game since the first set, and it's never really been that big of a problem? Couple reasons. One, Demacia is really strong. I believe Demacia is actually the 2nd best region right now, in my opinion, after Vandal City. So I feel like there should be at least a couple of Vandal City nerfs, and I feel like this is a good card to nerf by bringing it down to 2/2 without completely killing Demacia. And 2, Faded. Bright Seal Protector activating Faded is kind of annoying. So, you know, I don't want to actually nerf the Faded cards. I've seen some people say, like, nerf Pantheon, nerf Wounded White Flame, completely rework Fate, or Faded, or make it so Faded only gives +1/+0. I don't want to see those things. Like, sure, I don't like playing against Pantheon, but I think if you made it so Faded was only +1/+0 instead of +1/+1, that just kills Faded and Pantheon decks in general, and I don't want to see that. So make Bright Steel a 2/2 is what I'm saying. Next up, we're going to start with the buffs next. First card I want to see buffed. One of the few champion cards listed here, Aphelios. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Aphelios. Here's the thing. Aphelios, when he was good, was more of a symptom, in my opinion, than a cause. The reason why Aphelios, and to a greater extent Targon, was so good back then, when Aphelios was like the best meta deck, was Veiled Temple was nuts, and the meta was slower. Veiled Temple used to give +1/+1 for those who don't know. And because of that, they nerfed both Veiled Temple and Aphelios and a lot of other Targon cards. Fangs and Serpent and Star Shaping and maybe something else I can't remember. But yeah, I would like to see Aphelios get a buff. And how would I like to see him get buffed? First off, make the moon weapons 2 mana. Before you get mad, rework Crescendum. I don't know how to rework Crescendum, but if you make the moon weapons 2 mana, I think you should rework Crescendum, because Crescendum at 2 mana is really, really strong. I played a lot of Aphelios. He is one of my favorite champions. I will admit that. 2 mana Crescendum is really, really strong with the current effect. I don't know if it's a case of just making it so it only summons a 1 mana follower or something, but I think you would need to change Crescendum if you made 2 mana moon weapons. Maybe summon just like a token, like 2 mana. It would be like Crescendum just says 2 mana summon a 3/2, like just a vanilla 3/2 with no keyword or anything, no text box, in other words. And then before you say, well, then you need to nerf gifts. Yes, of course. This is basically going to revert gifts. Gifts, if you don't know, back when Aphelios had 2 mana moon weapons, gifts used to be 2 mana. So by making moon weapons 2 mana, I would also want to see gifts from beyond go back to 2 as well, which is actually kind of annoying for Lee Sin decks a little bit, I guess. But, you know, I don't like Lee Sin. Screw Lee. But yeah, I would like to see Aphelios come back. Sure, Aphelios is in the meta a little bit right now with Aphelios Lux, but I'll be honest with you, Aphelios Lux is only good not because of Aphelios, and is mostly good because of Demacia. And Aphelios is pretty much just a 3 mana, 3/3, Nightfall, create a Crescendum in hand, and then die. Because a lot of people know you need to kill Aphelios quickly. And yeah, Crescendum pulling out Petricite Broadwing is really strong. But I would like to see Aphelios get buffed, especially if they're nerfing some Demacia cards. Next up, this next card that I want to see buffed is a personal favorite of mine that I really, really like, but just sees no play. I'm talking about Spirit Journey, the Kindred champ spell. 5 mana, fast speed spell, kill a unit, then revive it. I want to see this get buffed. And the only way to really buff this is to make it faster, make it cheaper. And I would like to see it go to 4 mana. Maybe even 3 if you want to really push this card, but at 3 mana it feels a little too strong. So I'd like to see it at 4 mana. And I like this card so much because it has so much fun, cute synergy with it that you don't really get to see too much outside of Kindred decks. Because you can get summon abilities going off again with this card. In Magic, this is called Flicker from, I believe the card, it's called Flicker because of a card called Flicker Wing, which is like a 3 mana, 3/1 that basically does Spirit Journey when you summon it. It's like 3 mana, 3/1, target another unit you have, and then exile it and then resummon it or something like that. I can't remember the exact wording, but it basically is Spirit Journey on a stick. We have some cards like that. We actually have Chronicler. Chronicler is actually that, and I love those kind of effects. And they're just so slow. Now, granted, you can say, well, streamer, isn't Spirit Journey actually also a protection spell? Yes, but it's a 5 mana protection spell. And I think it's fine if it's 4 mana. 4 mana protection spells are okay. They're not like, there's not that many 4 mana protection spells that are heavily played. There's some, don't get me wrong. Deny, Bastion, and the most recent 4 mana protection spell, Transposition. If Transposition can be 4 mana, why can't Spirit Journey be 4 mana? Transposition also does a lot of degenerate things, and yet it's allowed to be 4 mana. So can we let Spirit Journey be 4 mana, please? So yeah, make it cost 4. Next card up I want to see get buffed. Another just personal favorite of mine. I like Predict, and just Zillion and Echo decks. I want to see Kahiri get a buff, like 6 mana, big boy Kahiri. How would I buff him? Just make him cheaper. That's really it. Make him 5 mana, and if you think he'd be too strong as a 5 mana 4/4, just nerf the stat line. Make him like a 3/3 or even a 2/3. Really, I just want to speed up Kahiri, because it takes a while to get the Kahiri value train rolling. You're also in Shurima and maybe even PNZ as well, because you want to have a lot of predicts if you're playing Kahiri. Shurima PNZ doesn't really have great healing. It only has, I think, maybe 2 healing cards in Shurima and none in PNZ, so it's a little rough. to try to run these longer games, which is what Kahiri wants. So make him a little bit faster by making him 5 mana and a 3/3. Next up, a card that a lot of people actually used to call OP, and in my opinion it was OP when it was really strong, Trifarian Assessor. I feel like it's finally time that we can unnerf Trifarian Assessor. That's the word. Trifarian Assessor used to be a 4 mana card. That's it. Exactly the same as it is now, but it was 4 mana. Heavily played in things like Ash decks, like Ash Sejuani. I can't remember if Ash LeBlanc played Assessor or if Assessor was nerfed. I feel like Assessor might have been nerfed with Ash LeBlanc, but I honestly can't remember. But yeah, I think 4 mana Assessor is fine in the game right now. I would like to see some buffs to Noxus Ash decks because, well, I'm not really a mid-range guy. I do like the concept of Ash decks, and I would like to see them get a buffed. Another buff, which is not just an Ash buff, because Ash is probably the best part of these Ash Noxus decks. Another thing you could probably buff is maybe LeBlanc or something. But yeah, I would like to see Trifarian Assessor go to 4 mana. Sure, you might say, like, what about Whispered Words? I don't think Whispered Words is good enough. I feel like Trifarian Assessor really, really rewards you for going really big compared to Whispered Words, which needs you to actually strike. And then you have to pay the mana, and on top of that, you're not developing the board like with an Assessor. The trade-off, I guess, is it is a burst speed spell, though. But yeah, make Assessor a 4 mana card again. Now, the last card. This one might actually make people mad about what I want to see get buffed here. Karma. I'm sorry. I love Karma. She's my favorite champion in the game. It's like her, Zoe, and Aphelios are like my 3 favorite champions. I really want to see Karma see more play because I love Karma. And I know why they don't want to make Karma that playable, because a lot of people don't like these kind of long, grindy, control-y games. But something, like, I don't know what it is, but I want to see some kind of buff. And the buff, well, technically the buff I would like to see is, at minimum, make her a 4/4. That's it. I'd be happy if they just made Karma a 5 mana 4/4. My biggest problem with Karma is her health pool is so low, especially in comparison to other control win cons, like the slower, grindier control win cons. I'm not talking about things like Field Rush, but Shellfolk. Even after the nerf, Shellfolk is still a 4/4. Don't even get me started on the whole Shellfolk was a 4/6 when it first came out. That was crazy. I played a lot of Shellfolk, and even I was like, this card is nuts. Why is it got 6 health as a control win con? But yeah, make Karma a 4/4. So, you know, she doesn't die to, say, like, a Buster Shot when she's not leveled up. Another thing I would love to see for Karma. This might actually be a little too strong, though, but right now, level 1 Karma, round end. Create in hand a random spell from your regions. I'd like to change that, but still keep the whole, like, spell generation she does before she levels up, and keep her level 2 the same. Keep her level 2 the whole spell doubling thing. That's why I like Karma so much. But I would like it if level 1 Karma said, instead of the whole create in hand a random spell from your regions, manifest a spell from your regions at the end of your turn. I don't know if they can do something like that in the game, like code it in without breaking anything, but assuming they can, that's what I would like to see. And if it is too strong, like if they do that and test it internally, and if they think it's too strong, sure, make it manifest. Make the manifest choice only show 2 spells instead of 3 spells to cut down on, like, the good choices. Because right now, I don't feel like there's a good reason to play Karma before she levels up. And in fact, I feel like the only time you ever play Karma before she levels up is either you're pretty much, like, guaranteed to not have Karma die because your opponent just has no cards or something, which is a very big rarity. Maybe you play her on... Now, I'm not saying, like... I'm not including turn 9 you play Karma, that's a given. Or the other reason you play Karma before she levels up is your hand sucks, and you need the power of RNGesus to help you out. And that's why I want to see Karma change from the whole random spell to maybe choose from 2 random selections, or even 3. But yeah, that's what I would like to see. Not really expecting a karma buff in all honesty, but I like it. At least the health buff. But yeah, that is those are my 10 most wished for balance changes. 5 buffs, 5 nerfs that I hope to see in the upcoming balance patch. I'd love to hear your opinion on the cards I would like to see buffed and nerfed. And I'd love to hear what kind of cards you guys would like to see buffed and nerfed as well. With 33 changes, hopefully we get at least like 8 strong changes, is my hope. So yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion and what you guys would like to see changed down in the comments below. So of course, make sure to leave a comment. And if you guys just enjoyed the video in general, I'd love it if you could leave a comment or a like down below as well. Always helps me and the channel out. And if you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zenaton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye.